Thank you, Mr. Hollowbone. It's customary when I rise to do the third-party summation to thank the member who has brought the debate. On this occasion, Mr. Hollowbone, I'm going to decline to do that. You see, the Scottish Government is accountable to the elected members of the Scottish Parliament. Yeah. And those members of the Scottish Parliament are elected by and accountable to the Scottish people. It is not a matter for this Westminster Parliament. Indeed, there is an explicit constitutional convention that forbids it to try and hold to account the Scottish Government. So I wonder why the honourable member for Stirling has chosen, amongst all of the things he could discuss that do affect his constituents, to bring this motion here today. And I conclude that the only possible reason is that rather than this be a debate to try and advance or develop public policy, this is purely and simply political point scoring and an attempt to have a go at the SNP. It is only a matter of some regret that he is aided and abetted in this endeavour by Her Majesty's loyal opposition. It seems the debate so far can't make up its mind as to whether the problem is the Scottish Government isn't using the powers it has, or whether the problem is that it is using the powers, as some speakers have complained about. The truth is that the Scottish Parliament and the Scottish Government use powers every day in every way to try and make things better for the people of Scotland. But they do so within considerable legislative and financial constraints. Constraints that have seen in real terms the Scottish public funding cut by almost 10% in a decade. But against that adversity, sit down please, I haven't got time. Against that adversity, there have been many, many achievements. Let me just list 10 because time is short. In Scotland, number one, people get free medicine. In Stirling, since the policy was introduced, 34,000 free prescriptions issued to the honourable gentleman's constituents. In Scotland, we do what we can to make taxation progressive. Higher rate taxpayers in Scotland today pay more than they do in England. People in larger houses, when they sell them in Scotland, pay more than they do in England. And people who live in larger houses pay more council tax than they do in England. No, I will not. So we use the powers when we've got them. Crime is at an all-time low, with more than 1,000 police officers on the beat over the 10 years of the SNP government. Scottish school students this year, their higher results were 1/3 higher than they were 10 years ago. A full third higher, a better performance than any other part of the United Kingdom. Help for small businesses in Scotland is at unprecedented. I shan't be giving way at all because I have not got the time. Help for small businesses is at unprecedented levels and much higher than it is in the rest of the UK. In Stirling, 4,882 businesses benefit from the small business scheme. Yep. In Scotland, we will make sure that the constituency of the honourable gentleman represents will not have fracking take place beneath their houses in line with their publicly expressed wishes. We have done what we can to mitigate the effects of this Westminster government. The bedroom tax, for example, a pernicious attack on the poor. We have used the hardship fund to try and mitigate that. In Stirling, 1,021 people have been recipients of that hardship fund to mitigate the bedroom tax. We have the best performing National Health Service than any part of the United Kingdom. Still many challenges, but a higher spend per head, more staff, shorter waiting times and better public perception. We have built 60,000 affordable homes in Scotland in the last 10 years, including 3,085 in Stirling, of which 777 are social housing. And most of all, it is still the situation in Scotland where if you want to go to university, it is free and you do not have to cripple yourself with unnecessary debt in order to pursue your education. Exactly. Compare and contrast that Scottish Government record with the record of the Tory Government here at Westminster. A government which, after just 4 months in office, appears to be punch-drunk. A government that is adrift on a sea of uncertainty and chaos of its own making. I know which government I would rather have in control of my life, and that is the Scottish Government led by the SNP. And no wonder, I say to the honourable gentleman, no wonder that my party, the SNP, is 17 points ahead in the opinion polls, and his party is now trailing in third place in Scotland. The honourable gentleman's wafer-thin majority is disappearing daily.